All right, in this lesson, we are going to continue what we were doing before, but instead of them being the polynomials being factored for us, we're going to have to find those zeros by factoring, and then we'll be able to sketch the graph. So we're just adding one step to where we were yesterday. So let's look at number 1. It's a trinomial. We're going to have to do some factoring. So the first thing I noticed is that this is x cubed. So I need to factor out an x out of everything. So let's do that. So I'm going to take an x out, and I'll have x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now it's equal to 0, right? We're finding 0, so we set it equal to 0. Now this part, I'm going to factor with my multiply add chart. So if I had multiply to 2, but I need to add to 3. So hopefully a 2 times 1 will work, and it does. And I can use a shortcut because there's a 1 right there. Now, that x out here is just going to hang on for the ride. So let's have x plus 2, x plus 1. All of it still equals 0. So you want to make sure that you show the factors. All right, show the factors. And that's what this is, showing it in factored form. Now I take each one of these and solve it for x. So x equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0. So that means x is negative 2, x is negative 1. So here's my 3 zeros. All right, from here I can then graph my polynomial. So I know I need at 0, negative 1, and negative 2. So I will have a point at 0, negative 1, and negative 2. Now I want to go back and think for a moment, what shape would this take on? Well, my highest exponent is 3, so it's odd, and it's positive. So this is going to take on the linear shape going uphill. That helps me when I graph because I know that this part's going to go down, this part's going to go up. Then I look at my zeros and decide what kind of roots are these? Well, these are just plain old linear roots. They don't bounce, they don't flatten, they just cut through the axis. So it should make sense. It should go up, down, and then connect. And sure enough, it does. Let's look at number 2. Same idea. Let's factor. What can we take out of each term, a GCF? We can definitely take out an x squared. So if I take out x squared, I'll have x squared minus 2x minus 15. Now, if I want to multiply to negative 15, but I want to add to negative 2, that should be a negative 5 and a 3. That should work fine. And then I'm going to write all this out. X squared, so x minus 5, x plus 3, all of it's still equal to 0. And then I solve this. Okay, this 0 is a double because that x is squared, all right? So I need to remember that when it comes to graphing. This becomes x equals 5, and this becomes x equals negative 3. Now that helps me when I graph. So I need to make sure I draw my graph in such a way I can see clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So where are my zeros? They're going to be at negative 3, at 0, and at 5. All right, so let's go back to the original and look at my end behavior. This is even, so my ends will go in the same direction, and it's positive, so that means the ends are going to go pointing up. So I can kind of put that in there. I know the ends are going to go up. Now I have to figure out what's going to happen in between. Well, at negative 3, that's just a cut through, so it's just going to cut through it. At 0, it's a double, so it's going to bounce off of it. So it comes back down. And then at 5, it's a single root, so it's just going to cut through. And that's all you have to remember. Let's try some more. Number 3. Let's see what we can factor out. Well, notice it's negative. We want to get rid of that negative. And we could take a 2 out, it looks like. So let's take a negative 2 and an x out. Then we'll have x squared minus 7x plus 10. Let's continue factoring. So I need to multiply to 10, add to negative 7. So that would be a negative 5 and a negative 2. All right, so I'm going to bring my negative 2x straight back down. Don't leave it alone. Don't leave it up there. So x minus 5, x minus 2. It's all still equal to 0. Now I set each one equal to 0. Negative 2x equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. All right? Now, so this means that x right here is 0. This one is a 5. This one is a 2. So there's my x's. None of these are anything funny. They're just cutting through. They're not doubles or triples. So I can draw my graph. Looks like it's all over here. I have zeros at 0, at 5, and at 2. Now I'm going to go back to my original. Look, my highest power is odd, and it's a negative, so that means it's going to be going downhill. The ends will be going downhill, so I know this one's going to go up, this is going to go down, and then I need to connect my dots with the correct shapes and multiplicities. Well, we said all of these are cut through, so it's no biggie. So we're just going to cut through, turn it, and cut through. And there it is. Number 4. All right, let's look. What is the GCF? What can we take out of all of this? Well, we can definitely take out an x squared. Then we'll have 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. All right, this one, we're going to multiply to negative 24. We want to add to a negative 2. So a little bit more thinking here. So I need a negative 6 and a 4. That will add up to what we want. Now this one I can't use the shortcut on, so I'm going to have to do some grouping. All right, so let's remind ourselves how we did that. So I'm just bringing that x squared down. I'm going to take that 3x squared just as it was. I'm going to rewrite the negative 2x as negative 6x plus 4x and then minus 8. And then let's do some grouping. I will take, let's see, 3x comes out, and then I'll have, what, x minus 2. Bring that plus sign down, and I could take a 4 out, and I'll have x minus 2. So then I'll have x squared, x minus 2, and the leftovers will be 3x plus 4. All right, now we set it all equal to 0. X squared is 0, x minus 2 is 0, and then 3x plus 4 is 0. All right, so this is 0, but remember, this is a double. All right, that's important. This will mean x is 2. This one we got to do a little solving, but it's no biggie. So x will equal negative 4/3. All right, now let's think about our graph. Go back to the original. Look at your highest exponent. It's positive and it's even. So that means my ends are going to will both point up. All right, so let's look at this. Negative 4/3 is like negative 1.3, okay? So if I place my zeros, I have one at 0, I have it 2, and then one negative 1.3, so it's like right there. Now I know my end behavior says that both are going to point up, so I can include that. Now over here, this one is just a regular old cut through, so it's just going to cut through the x-axis. At 0, it's a double root, so it's going to bounce off. And then at 2, it makes sense that it should just cut through, so it makes like a W sign. And that's how you do it. So today we're just adding this factoring step to find our zeros, investigate the multiplicities, and then sketch a graph. All right, good luck. Let me know what questions you have when you get to class.